World War I. American financing. The United States did fight a total war when looking mainly at financing for World War I. The first major idea in America for financing World War I developed in 1913 with the passing of the 16th Amendment. This amendment legalized income taxes. A supporter of income taxes was President Woodrow Wilson. Initial rates of income taxes were too low to bring in any significant revenue, which led to the decision to expand income taxes. The main idea behind income taxes was to soak the rich, or in other words, tax the wealthy. Businesses were also required to pay taxes, which were based off of how well the businesses were doing. Although income taxes were quite successful, it still was not enough to support the war. The government introduced Liberty bonds, which ended up getting the middle class more involved in financing the war. Some main attractions of Liberty bonds were affordability and the fact that the bonds would be paid back with interest. The issuing of Liberty bonds was separated into 5 different issuing groups. The first 4 issuing groups were called Liberty Loan 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 5th issuing group was called Victory Loan. The Liberty bonds were paid back at interest ranging from 3.5 to 4.5%, and the Victory bonds were paid back at interest ranging from 3.5 to 4.7%. The main problem with Liberty bonds was the Federal Reserve System was encouraged to lend money freely to people trying to advertise for war bonds. This resulted in a printing of money which led to a large inflation. However, Liberty bonds ended up being successful, bringing in billions of dollars. There was a large amount of support for buying Liberty bonds. Some people who advertised for the selling of the bonds were celebrities and the nation's best-known illustrators. Citizens were persuaded to buy Liberty bonds because it was an honorable act of patriotism. Boy Scouts even became involved in selling the bonds. Their slogan was, "Every Scout to save a soldier." Another way the United States government decided to raise funds for World War I was through thrift stamps. Thrift stamps were designed to involve those who could not afford bonds. The main focus was mainly on immigrants and children. The stamps cost 25 cents each, and if 16 were collected, they could be exchanged for war-saving stamps. War-saving stamps had 4% interest and were compounded quarterly. Thrift stamps could be sold back to the government with a 10 days notice at any time. Overall, thrift stamps raised about $1 million for the war effort in the 1 year they were available. The United States was also involved with supporting its allies by giving them loans. The money loaned out by the U.S. was required to be used to buy products from the U.S. With this successful plan, the United States also took over as the main leader of the world's trading system. The former leader was the British, but the German submarines prevented them from being able to keep the position. By the end of the war, the United States had become the largest trading nation. Overall, the United States did fight a total war when looking mainly at financing for World War I. They went to many extremes such as printing money, which caused inflation, to getting Boy Scouts to sell Liberty bonds. The United States devoted a lot of its resources for financing the war.